Hello. So yes, as you said, I am Brandur, and I've actually transitioned from, as you introduced, we were starting out in welfare technology, and a friend of mine suggested that I try selling a painting through blockchain technology, which I was quite interested in, and everybody was very interested in a couple of years ago. But that's changed today for many reasons. Uh, so I wanted to start by telling you a little story about a friend of mine who I met early this year in Nepal. So this is a woman who is originally from India, and she comes from conditions which we cannot imagine. So, I'm sure not many of you at least. So there's so much poverty in these certain areas in India. They are completely isolated. They're living in the Stone Age, so to speak. There's no electricity, no running water, no schools, no hope for a future. So this friend of mine was very lucky in that one of her aunts was a dressmaker. She made these beautiful sari dresses. So this friend of mine was adopted by her aunt, so saved from being sold into a marriage or prostitution. And she learned how to make dresses. And that's what she did for 20 years. She would wake up every day, work for 16 hours or so, and just make these dresses. One dress would take maybe a month to make. There were very beautiful, intricate sewings and designs in it. And then every couple of months, a merchant would come into town and he would buy her dresses for maybe $10, $20 each. And this was fine for her at the time. It was enough for her to buy rice and gas to boil water for her family so they could survive. And this is how it was, as I say, for almost 2 decades. Until one day, a wandering social entrepreneur stayed at her aunt's house, and he listened to her business model and pulled up a smartphone. And then he showed her these online sales platforms where all she had to do was take a picture of the dresses she had made, write a little text about how she created it, and she could post it there. And when she went and looked at the prices of similar dresses as she was making, she saw that they were being sold for about $1,000. So she tried posting a dress, it got sold within a week. She sent the dress, got the money, did it again. And over a period of 5 years, she made a lot of money. She built a school, she built an orphanage, she built a waterworks, and she completely revolutionized the way that she, her family, and her entire town lived. So that was an inspirational story. Until a corrupt city official came and stole everything away from her, claimed all her hard work, so she actually had to move away because he was jealous of the popularity that she had gained through this. But yeah, that's another story. And then I met her in Nepal. And I'm actually going back in a month and looking forward to meeting her again. So yeah, I want to tell you that story just to give you kind of an idea of how technology is coming into people's lives and completely changing the way that we do things and new opportunities. So the newest endeavor, which I was told I'm not allowed to present here, but just to give a little context, we are helping artists by creating a platform which simplifies the process of uploading their artwork onto our platforms and selling them through various means utilizing blockchain. So, out of curiosity, could I have a show of hands who feels comfortable with the concept of blockchain? Who knows what it is? All right, yeah. So that's basically the reason why. So not many hands went up. So when we started out with our project, the idea was that we were going to leverage on blockchain technology, and all our friends who were deep into blockchain, they loved the idea. But then when we started trying to present it outside of the blockchain community, people just kind of squinted and what's that? So just to give you a very, very short idea of what blockchain is, blockchain essentially is three things. So it's a distributed ledger system. And to explain that, imagine if I would give each and every one of you a little notebook, and this was a magic notebook. So anything that any one of you would write into one of these notebooks would instantly appear in all the other notebooks. So that's the distributed ledger idea. And second thing is security or encryption, meaning that anything that is written in those notebooks, 10 years past or whatever, you can trust that it was written as it stands. So you can trust the data that is within the notebooks. Third thing is smart contracts. So those are just like, imagine programmable contracts. So if this, then that, and very, very broadly defined. So those three things, when people started looking into them, they started seeing all kinds of potentials about how this new incredible technology could be utilized to change the world. And billions of dollars. I don't have the numbers right now, but it was a large amount of money that was invested into this. And right now, if you go to an investor and you say, I'm doing a blockchain project, they will probably turn you down because so many of the projects have not panned out as people had hoped. So we're still waiting to see some of these hopeful use cases emerge. And we are one of those projects. What makes us different and optimistic is that we're not going for the kind of fantastical applications that many others are going. We are taking the problems that are very clear in relation to art, which is like authenticity of artwork. You need to be able to prove that the artwork that you have created is a one of a kind, for example. That is especially important with digital art, which is something that is gaining ground all over the world today. More and more digital artworks are being sold for higher and higher prices, in some regards because of blockchain, but not exclusively. And I lost my train of thought there. But there's authenticity and there's provenance, That was the other thing. So provenance is basically you want to know who else has owned your artwork. So if Bill Gates buys a painting and then sells it again, then that painting is way more valuable than otherwise. So and then the other part of it is fractionized ownership or tokenization. So once you have registered something on a blockchain, it allows you to play around with it a bit. So you can take an asset, and an asset can be a house or a car, or a painting, any kind of artwork, and you can fractionize ownership over it, meaning that many people can own small parts of one big whole thing. So that is essentially what we are going to play around with. And there is a movement which is called Tokenize Everything. That's another one of those overly optimistic group of people that think everybody's going to adopt the same ideas as they have. But it's a beautiful idea in many ways. So what that involves is, so if I stick to artwork, so let's say some of you want to start investing in artwork. First of all, you need to have quite a lot of money to make a start of it. You can go to emerging artists and take a big risk because it's very difficult to tell which artists are going to be successful. Well, some easier than others, but mostly you're going to be taking a large risk. So again, you would need kind of a lot of money because you need to invest in a lot of different artists in the hopes that a few of them will succeed. If you want to invest through investment funds, that's again quite expensive. I think average fund for the minimum buy-in is $10,000. So that's not something that the average person can do. So by tokenizing artwork and other high value investment classes, asset classes, sorry, you can essentially reduce the price for entry for potential investors. Meaning that if you look at the global art market today, most people are focusing on the really valuable artworks being sold for millions of dollars and all of that. But if you look at the total market, more than 50% of the investments going into artwork are in artworks which cost less than $1,000. So, that's a really important part of the market. So by opening up investment into artwork through tokenization, this fractionized tokenization, you're allowing a lot more people to start putting their money into an asset class which historically has been very stable during tumultuous periods, and which means that more people become emotionally invested in investing in art, and thus we anticipate at least if this goes as we hope it will go, a doubling in value of the global art market. And I was going to say that in a more dramatic way, but yeah, that's that. Do you want to come and say something? All right. So he was going to come and talk for 5 minutes about why we choose to use blockchain, but he's not feeling good today, so I'm going to fill in extra 5 minutes, which, yeah, all right. I might tell you a joke. No, I won't tell you a joke. No, so as I said, initially we chose to use blockchain just because it was the trendy thing to do at the time. And we bump into, initially when he started creating our platform, he came to me, I was really excited, let's use blockchain, let's sell my art, be one of the first to sell artwork through blockchain. So, he took a month, created an entire platform where we were able to load my artwork and tokenize them and distribute tokens. But then he came to me and said, I don't understand anymore why we're using blockchain, because I can essentially do all the things that were useful in regards to blockchain through other ways. But and also at the time we were thinking about utilizing Ethereum or Bitcoin platforms, which is still most common today. Is that blockchain companies, they will attach themselves to and utilize these platforms. We chose not to do that because we are creating an asset which has value, and that value is going to fluctuate along with the value of the tokens, so Bitcoin and Ethereum. So if Bitcoin crashes, suddenly all the artwork which we have registered on our platform are going to become less valuable. So we chose not to do that, and luckily Mr. Joffrey is probably one of the 5 best programmers in Europe today, and he just created his own blockchain, and he's still teaching me actually how he does that. So I'm not going to go deep into how we are doing that, but we are noticing that more and more companies that jumped onto the blockchain wagon in the beginning, they are abandoning the Ethereum and blockchain platforms. In some ways, it's also due to legislature. Yeah. So that's one challenge, which I'm sure that many of you are familiar with. Pioneers in new technologies get confronted by the fact that the legal environment it's created to protect certain stabilities. And of course, when we come in with a technology which is supposed to democratize this and democratize that, meaning taking the control away from the government, then there are all kinds of pathways which resist such change. So that is the environment which I love to be in. Whenever we are figuring out how to solve something, we go online, we look for it, we realize nobody's done it yet, so we just have to kind of choose, do we go left or do we go right? And then, of course, we do experiments and then see where it goes. So we are about to launch our platform in later this month. So that's going to be our first version of our platform. We've been working on it now for a year. We've pivoted many times, made many changes. And yeah, so I just remembered the point of this talk was bridges and how we are opening up access to art for artists. So yeah, so I'll try to end on that. So what's happening in the world today is that the traditional way of entering the art market is through galleries, meaning that there are galleries that have networks of buyers that they curate very carefully and secretly often. So if you as an artist, you want to make it, you need to find a gallery and you need to convince them to take you on. A gallery with low resources cannot handle successfully usually more than one to three artists. So they will put all their effort into that, and then they will bring on a couple of extra artists, but they won't put a lot of time and effort into supporting them. So artists, often will attach to a gallery, which then doesn't, do the work which is required for that artist to succeed. And of course, we live in Iceland. It's a very strange place to be an artist. It's a very isolated market, but at the same time, there's a lot of people coming and going. So it's isolated, but not really. And it's such a small community also that in other countries you often have a lot of separation between the different arts fields. Here, the contemporary artists and all the other artists kind of have a beer together, so there's a lot more change. Yes, I digress. But yeah, the point is that the change which is going on now is that art sales are moving more and more onto social media platforms. So I think 60% of artwork sold online was through Instagram. I'm sure if there are any artists here, they're familiar with that process. So yeah, so that's a change. No, I'm waiting for time now. Should I keep going? Yeah, I'll keep going. Any questions? No questions? Sorry?
How is blockchain platform? How is it better than just selling online?
Well, it's not. I mean, what we're doing is we're creating a way to integrate between. So essentially, Instagram is allowing people to reach a market, and then we are providing a means to actually sell the artwork through it. So, yeah. So those are two. So those are two technologies which are coming together to improve the entire process. So again, without going into too much detail about what we're doing, uh, uh, we are essentially creating a platform to help artists. Or essentially, we help galleries, which can be artists, to curate their own materials. And then once they have their material on our platform, then they use Instagram, or we help, by creating a streamlined process of posting stuff onto Instagram, and yeah, and then thus reaching bigger markets. So the point of the bashing the galleries part of my speech was that today more and more galleries are seeing the movement to the digital, so online markets. So, but that's quite a challenge. Not every gallery can afford to pay for their own, online sales platforms. They can use, of course, like Squarespace and such, but what we've done is created a more specialized product, which is especially designed for galleries to onboard artists and have curators, which is a diverse field of people, come and manage their platforms. Yeah. All right. Wow, that was crazy, but yeah. All right.